So hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 7 of our season 4 on F1 Manager 23. Now if you didn't watch the last episode, go back and watch it because we had a good time in Imola. Lando Norris winning the Grand Prix by 17 seconds from Lewis Hamilton. Pierre Gasly finishing in P6, having a little bit of an incident and recovering very, very well indeed. So fair play to Pierre Gasly and obviously fair play to Lando Norris. Standings wise, if we have a look at the championship, we are top of the constructors and we are top by around 28 points from Red Bull. Driver standings wise, Lando Norris is top on 121 points, 9 points clear of Max Verstappen. Pierre Gasly 4 points behind the Dutchman. It's been a very good season for us so far. We are hoping to continue it, and it is the jewel in the crown. It's Monaco. Now you want to win Monaco. We haven't won it this year. 78 laps around here. If we have a little look at the previous race results, we're not going to get them once again. Expected strategy, it's a one stop at Monaco. Car attributes, low speed is crucial. That is not the best attribute on this Andretti Cadillac car, but I'm hopeful we can pull out a decent result this weekend. Just to bring you up to date on the car part development, we have a new chassis and underfloor being developed. We are going very heavy on the car part development, as this probably will be our last season. But all that being said, I'm going to get through practice and I'll see you in Monaco for qualifying. Disappointing for Lando Norris, knocked out in Q2, so we only have Pierre Gasly in Q3, currently in P6. Let's see if we can improve. This is it then, final laps in Q3, and only Pierre Gasly to focus on, who didn't have the best of opening laps in Q3, it must be said. He's now going round Rascas through the final corner. Can he improve and get further up the grid for tomorrow? We know how pivotal it is qualifying here. Crosses the line up to P7 provisionally. Let's fast forward on down to P8. And it's not been a great day at qualifying in Monaco for the Andretti Cadillacs. P8 for Pierre Gasly, Max Verstappen on pole position, Teo Pourchaire in the Alfa Romeo Haas in P2. But we have got rain on Sunday. Let's get to the strategy. Right then guys, P8 and P11, and this is one of the most annoying things about this game, and I'm going to put it to you now, and I hope this changes for F1 Manager 24, because look at this, right? We get no information on sort of track dampness. All we get is it's 4.46 now, so we know that is wet, and we know it's hammering it down in Monaco, so we're going to have to start on the wet. What would be nice is if we got the sort of track map where we see the little lines. But I can't moan. Obviously, we've got to work what we've got. I mean, let me know down in the comments. I don't like starting on wets, but it seems the only option. If it's that wet now and it's going to carry on raining for 15, 20 laps, then we've got to be on wets, haven't we, surely? Let's hope everybody else is, and let's get to 5 red lights.
The streets of Monte Carlo are ready as the drivers prepare for the 78 laps of the Monaco Grand Prix. As we get to this race, our focus shifts to Valtteri Bottas.
This could be a testing race. Yes, they could make something from this, but no mean feat when you start in P17.
But just what will happen here, your guess is as good as mine. It's time for one of the most exciting races in the world. This is the Monaco Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
And away we go, and isn't it nice to see that everybody else is on the wet compound tyre? Verstappen into turn 1, manages to hold off Teo Pourchaire, who's lost a position to Checo Perez. Pierre Gasly fighting in P8 with Piastri and Charles Leclerc at this moment in time. How wet and dark is it around Monaco at this moment in time? Pierre Gasly in P8 looking to make moves. Early doors here on Leclerc. I would suggest, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to see some safety cars today. Let's have a look now at the track details. We can see it's going to tail off a little bit, probably drop to inters around lap 28, 29, 30, and then go to the soft compounded tyre or the hard compounded tyre. The dry compounded tyre is the words I'm looking for at this moment in time. But P8, Lando Norris lost the position to Hamilton off the start, rather interestingly. But at this moment in time, Verstappen is in P1. He's already pulled out nearly a second on Teo Pourchaire, who had a fantastic qualifying, not quite showing the race pace at this moment in time. Perez in P3, Russell in P4, and Albon in the Mercedes in P5. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as tends to be the case around Monaco, we've had 10 laps and we haven't had a single overtake on circuit. Everybody's spaced out at this moment. The conditions making it incredibly difficult. Max Verstappen is looking back to his imperious best so far this weekend. He's 4 seconds in front of Pourchaire, and it must be said, it's not like Pourchaire's backing everyone up. Perez is 1.6 seconds behind, Russell in P4. Lando Norris, this has been a terrible weekend so far for him. just can't get moving on these tyres at the moment. Pierre Gasly sat behind the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. Albon and Sainz in P5 and P6 at this moment in time. Raikkonen and Hülkenberg look like they're driving F2 cars at this moment in time at the back in the Hugo Boss cars. But I'm sure Kimi Raikkonen's enjoying himself, at least driving back round Monaco once again. But at the moment, no change. Verstappen leads. Now, rather interestingly, Valtteri Bottas on lap 19 has pit, as has Max Verstappen, so we may be going into the pits very shortly. Pierre Gasly is coming into the pits. Lando Norris is going to continue for one more lap, but it made sense to get Pierre in. I wasn't keen on the gap, and we know how good our pit stops have been recently. Bad, of course. But Pierre Gasly is coming in for a set of intermediates. Théo Pourchaire has had a pit stop issue. In fairness, that's probably our best stop of the season. 2.9 seconds. Track conditions changed to damp. Lando Norris is now pushing on these wet compounder tyres, trying to get round in a decent time. Pierre Gasly is going to filter out behind Charles Leclerc, not in a lot of traffic, and that will suit Pierre Gasly rather nicely. Still sat behind Charles Leclerc, and there's a few cars who didn't pit on the wet compounder tyre, but we followed Verstappen because he tends to be rather right. Lando Norris is in to the pits. Of course, we had to put him the lap after. Let's see if he gets a good pit stop here. It looks a little bit slow, this one. 3.3 seconds, not quite as good as Pierre's. Pierre's pushing on at this moment in time. And I'm guessing Pierre Gasly should be coming round the start-finish straight, which he is now. Is he going to get ahead of Lando Norris? He certainly is by quite some distance. Pierre Gasly there, and Pierre Gasly is going to follow Charles Leclerc through. He's going to come out in P10. Have we got anybody still not pit? Ricciardo, Ocon, Piastri, Perez and Russell not pitting, interestingly. So Lando Norris now pushing on, as is Pierre Gasly. Hammer time for these guys. Now, this is interesting. Lap 21, Perez and Russell both into the pits. Now, where are our guys going to filter out here? Because they've been pushing on as Pierre and Charles Leclerc. He's got Carlos Sainz in front of him as Pierre Gasly. Verstappen has just set the new fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Now, let's see. We've got a few cars into the pits here. I would expect Pierre and Lando to both be gaining some positions. Théo Pourchaire, my word, he's driving so well this weekend, it must be said. And Carlos Sainz in front of Pierre Gasly is on the intermediates as well. Leclerc setting the new fastest lap of the Grand Prix. And Pierre Gasly is back up into P8, pretty much as you were. Lando Norris, is he going to gain any positions here? He's got in front of Daniel Ricciardo. Is he going to get in front of Piastri? No, he isn't. So Lando Norris still P11 and P8. We have not changed positions. The lap times are getting quicker and quicker. Théo Pourchaire is looking extremely handy so far this weekend. Pierre Gasly in P8 now. We're just calming down a little bit on the tyres just to get them back into a nice operating window. We're expecting more pit stops around lap 8, but as it stands at this moment, Verstappen is in P1, followed by Checo Perez, Théo Pourchaire in P3, Russell in P4, then comes Albon, Leclerc and Sainz, Gasly in P8, Hamilton P9, Piastri in P10 and Lando Norris down in P11. He needs to start making some moves here, does Lando Norris, but at the moment can't quite get in front of Piastri and Hamilton as the sun is now shining in Monaco. This is it then, lap 30, pit stops are happening and Max Verstappen has gone onto a set of soft compound tyres. He's trying a two-stop towards the end. We are going hard compound tyres on both of our cars to take us to the very end. Remember, easy to catch at Monaco, hard to pass. Pierre Gasly now in the pit lane, going onto the hard compounder tyre. Is it going to be a good stop for Pierre? It certainly is. And in comes Lando Norris. That was absolute clockwork for Pierre Gasly. It's not the best in the world for Lando Norris, though. 4.8, but we will take that. We're onto the hard compounder tyre. We've got a lot of cars going onto different compounds, but we are now going to the end on the hard compounder tyre. Now, this is absolutely crucial. We can see George Russell onto the hards. Perez and Pourchaire also onto the hards. We have been pushing like mad with both of our cars on the outlaps, trying to gain some positions here. We felt that this was the time to really start making moves. Daniel Ricciardo in front of us, still on that intermediate compounder tyre. He's coming into the pits. Are we going to gain positions here with Pierre Gasly especially? Where are Hamilton and Leclerc? Just coming out of the pit exit. Pierre Gasly pushing on here, has managed to get past Charles Leclerc, and that has worked very, very well for Pierre Gasly. Where is Lando Norris? Down in P11 still. Is he going to get Hamilton? Hamilton just coming out of the pits now. Lando Norris still only in P11, but that's worked out well for Pierre Gasly. Alex Albon, that was a strategy disaster class because he stayed out a couple of laps longer on the inters. He's now on the hards, but he's dropped to P11, but that has promoted Lando Norris, into the points. I'm not impressed with Lando Norris's pace at all today. I'm more impressed with Pierre Gasly, who's currently now sat in P5. It must be said as well, Verstappen's on softs, he's got to pit again. Charles Leclerc's on softs, he's going to have to pit again, as is Piastri, where a lot of cars in the top 10 are going to the end. We're now going to have a full rundown. It's Verstappen from Perez, Russell in P3, Porsche, then Gasly in P5, Leclerc P6, then comes Sainz, Piastri, Hamilton, and Lando Norris in P10. We've seen an overtake, but unfortunately it's an Andretti Cadillac getting overtaken. Charles Leclerc on the soft compound tyre, managing to get the job done on Pierre Gasly. We can see DRS wide open. He got the job done before he even got to turn 1. Had Charles Leclerc. Fantastic work by him. We're not too upset about that. He's on the soft, we're on the hard. We're going to the end. He's got to pit again. We'll see how it all pans out at the end. Lap 35, Gasly in P6, Norris now back in the DRS of Hamilton in P10. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm bringing you back lap 48. This could be the shortest episode we've ever done on the channel here. There's not been too much to tell you about. Lando Norris is just about hanging onto the back of this little gaggle of cars. There is a 1, 2, 3... three-way fight for P7. P7's definitely on for Lando Norris if he can position himself well here. Pierre Gasly, on the other hand, is just in a race of his own. He's 5 seconds behind Leclerc. He's 3 seconds in front of Carlos Sainz. Leclerc's tyres are starting to die a little bit now. And obviously he's got to stop again, so he's going to gain up to P5. He may be able to push on as well when that does happen. But Lando Norris is certainly in a fight here, but he seems to just be on the tail end of it. He's not really involved in it. What he has got to do, though, is get past this Hugo Boss, and he's done that beautifully. So Lando Norris is still in P10, but he's chasing after Piastri and Leclerc. Verstappen into the pits, coming out of the pits as we can see. I'm intrigued to see what tyre he's on. He's on the medium compounder tyre now. Is Max Verstappen on lap 55. He's slotted out in P3. Going to be very interesting to see how far behind his teammate he is. 8 seconds. He's going to pull that gap back, definitely. Verstappen could win this today. Leclerc can't be far off going in the pit. Piastri is pitting from P8, so that's going to promote Lando Norris and Lewis Hamilton forward. Lando Norris cannot get past Lewis Hamilton at all today. New fastest lap of the Grand Prix on lap 57 for Max Verstappen, but Charles Leclerc has pit onto the medium compounder tyre as well. He's now 6-7 seconds behind Lando Norris, who's in P8, just about tagging on to Hamilton. Pierre Gasly is now in P5, 17 seconds behind Théo Pourchaire. Can he pull that gap back? I would highly doubt it, but P5 for Gasly would not be a bad result today. Lando Norris has got to hold off a couple of very quick cars behind him. We have 10 laps to go, and Lando Norris has been caught by Charles Leclerc, but Carlos Sainz has dropped off a little bit, and we are now trying to use Carlos Sainz as a bit of a buffer, keeping the DRS, and also make sure that Charles Leclerc doesn't get past, because this is going to benefit Pierre Gasly as well, who has cut the gap on Porsche by about 4 seconds, by the way. So Gasly's lapping decently well at this moment. If we just have a quick look at 1:14.9 plays at 1:15.5. So Pierre Gasly's definitely got the pace. I think Gasly for P5 is pretty nailed on at the moment, providing Lando Norris can stay in the DRS of Sainz and make sure that Charles Leclerc doesn't get past. Verstappen has now caught to the back of Checo Perez. Verstappen's on 71% mediums. Perez is on 48% hards. It looks like a matter even of when, not if, Max Verstappen will get past Checo Perez, but Pierre Gasly at the moment keeping that gap to Leclerc nice and steady. Lando Norris has made an overtake. He's overtaken Carlos Sainz, and it was very, very important that he did into Casino Square. Lando Norris managing to get the job done. Beautiful work from him, and he puts an Audi between himself and the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. Lovely work from Lando Norris. I don't mind if he keeps Sainz in the DRS at this moment in time, but Lando Norris now might have to run for the hills. We've got 6 laps to go. Hamilton is 3 seconds up the road. Lap 75, and Carlos Sainz has done his old mate Lando Norris an absolute solid because he's held up Charles Leclerc. Lando Norris is now in P7 and chasing after Lewis Hamilton. He's cut down a 3-second gap, and he's now within the DRS of the Ferrari in front of him. It's level on tyres. He's possibly got a little bit more battery as Lewis Hamilton, but we've got 3 laps to get past the Ferrari. Gasly's in P5, looking rather comfortable. He can just drive it out here, but Lando Norris, could he get one more position? This is it then, ladies and gentlemen. Final lap of the Grand Prix for Lando Norris to try and get Lewis Hamilton. He got DRS. Verstappen's already probably halfway around Monaco. But Lando Norris, will he be able to possibly possibly manage to get past him? We are going overtake high. I would like to beat this Ferrari today. And Lando Norris, could he possibly just find an opening to get past Lewis Hamilton as they go down now into the right-hander and then into this hairpin? It's going to be very interesting. Where is he going to get the opportunity? Possibly into the swimming pool chicane. That might be the opportunity for him to get it. We can see Leclerc 5.7 seconds back. Pierre Gasly, his job is done for today. He's in P5, but can Lando Norris possibly get this position? It could be a drag race down to the line, but he doesn't look at this moment like he's going to be able to do it. Max Verstappen is your winner on the day. Russell's in P3. Gasly just coming round into P5, but we're keeping an eye on Lando Norris, who's just a bit too far back and isn't going to manage to get Lewis Hamilton. It's not quite going to happen today, so we're going to switch to Pierre Gasly, who's driven a fantastic race in P5. Well done to Pierre Gasly. We will take that. It's decent points for the team at not our strongest track. And Lando Norris probably needed a little bit more luck on the day and a little bit better qualifying on Saturday, and he may have had a different story. But P5 and P7, not the best, but let's get to the podium.
What a masterclass drive from Pierre Gasly today.
That really was such a strong performance. And they come away from today with a top 10 finish. Amazing. Really, really good for the team.
Well, they've been waiting for this, haven't they? And it's only right that they make the most of it. Well, Max Verstappen can add yet another podium to his already impressive record.
What an excellent way to take a second win of the season with a composed performance today.
Always a special occasion here in the incomparable Monte Carlo. They'll be pushing the boat out here tonight, no doubt.
Max Verstappen enjoying it back up on the top step of the podium, and fair play to him. He just led from start to finish, really, didn't he? We were never going to catch him today. Max Verstappen winning fastest lap of the Grand Prix as well. Checo Perez in P2, good result for him. George Russell in P3, Teo Pourchaire in P4, probably very much up there with the driver of the weekend, maybe. Gasly in P5, Lando Norris in P7, both of them gaining 3 and 4 positions respectively, as did Lewis Hamilton, who's starting to turn his fortunes around in the Scuderia Ferrari. Leclerc in P8, Sainz in P9, and Piastri making up the top 10. Driver standings wise, Max Verstappen is now back on top after that weekend. Lando Norris on 127 points. He's now 12 points behind Max Verstappen. Pierre Gasly on 118, but we are certainly in it in the constructors as well. 12 points clear of Red Bull. Catalonia is up next, and that should suit us a little bit more. I hope you've enjoyed that one, ladies and gents. Please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Ta-ra!